All right, guys. Thank you for joining me. As always, I appreciate it. Granite State avoiding what exactly? So there's a couple things people are avoiding. This was actually about the Mr. 19 arm ticket and what people are avoiding. And they're avoiding the simple fact, guys, that we are watching an even bigger number of people passing away. All right, Bush Pig, thank you for the 5x5. Pure Blood, Glock, Toilet, Mr. Landfill, Elaine, Annie, Calamity Girl, Dobie, thank you for the 5x5. Kathy, Prep to Adapt. Maria, thank you for the 5x5. Jason, thank you for the Whiskey by Whiskey. Adam, Sergeant 11 Bravo. Raccoon Eyes, Bernard, Jeff. Visit, Warchild, thank you for the 5x5. Disgruntled, Ex-Cop, I like that one, by the way. Thank you for the 5x5. Chris, Grit and Grace, Evolving Media. Joe, FW, thank you for the 5x5. Melissa, Dow, B Spooky, Strawberry. Sojourner, thank you for the 5x5. Tina, Swamp Donkey, thank you for the 5x5. Crow, Dana, Cherokee, John Wright, thank you for the 5x5. Flown Grown, WTC, Maverick, Greco, thank you for the 5x5. Weed Nerd, Eric, thank you for the 5x5. Joanne, Evolving Media again. Kaya, Tina, and Ron, thank you for the 5x5. So, guys, there is, and Cherokee Survival, thank you for joining me. Beef and Chicken, thank you for the 5x5. And everybody, thank you for the 5x5, excuse me. You know what's funny? Some people are annoyed by that shit. Why do you 5x5 so many times? Because I fucking want to. It's my channel. I do what the fuck I want. All right? Can you lend me 5? Yes, Yardbird, I can lend you a 5x5. Rhonda, what's going on? Do you like spam by spam? No. Spam should be illegal. It should be considered a narcotic, and people should get arrested and beaten within an inch of their life for eating spam. But that's a different subject. I want to get onto it right now. What I want to get onto, guys, is every morning, I open up my phone or my iPad, and there's somebody who passed away from some kind of heart issue. The amount of people, guys, that are suddenly passing away, the amount of people that are gaining an absorbent amount of cancers. Matter of fact, the cancers that they are getting is insanity. I've never seen this many people. And now they're trying to make a connection with Mr. 19 and the rise in cancer. There are a small percentage of doctors that are looking for the connection between the arm ticket and cancers, and I think one doctor found it. But they're trying to connect Mr. 19 to the rise in cancer so that you can take more of their arm tickets. They want you to believe that a virus is causing cancer. And they're going to convince enough people in the next couple of months that there's a connection between Mr. 19 and the Mr. C, the big C. There's a connection, and that more people should get the arm ticket. Andre says ignorance doesn't save people from reality. Let them pay for their naiveness or naivety. I said that wrong. Big Cat's up. Ex-girlfriend quit infusion and is giving up. Giving up what? Toilet. What won't work? Because they're going to convince people to take something. Listen, a lot of people are, when I talk about this, a lot of people are like, but what about the food? Our food hasn't really changed, other than now people are focused on it, and so people think that the food is the cause, and it's not. It's absolutely not the cause. Our food has had these poisonous byproducts in it for years. It's nothing new, but people are now looking at food and attacking food companies, which they very well should. I stand behind everybody that's attacking the food industry. Absolutely, yes. I agree that people are attacking food and pointing out all of the poisons that are in our food. But that is not what's causing what we're seeing with the big C on the rise. We didn't see anything like this. A lot of the foods, guys, had those chemicals in it for years now. Now, all of a sudden, in 2021, 2022, the Mr. C fluctuates up, and now they're like, oh, it's the food. There are even doctors trying to blame the food to misdirect you from looking at the arm ticket, which it clearly is. Now, there are a lot of people that are waking up to that fact, but there are a lot of people also sleeping to that fact. They're sitting there going, well, it can't be that. I don't have cancer. Well, it's not that simple, and it doesn't work that way. And so, with that, guys, sorry. And with that, we're seeing this problem that everybody's trying to avoid. They are trying to fucking matrix and dodge the vaccine thing. They're like, oh, the arm ticket's not causing that. No way. That's not it. It's the food. Now they're attacking the food industry. Now, there was a doctor who worked for a food company. He was on Mr. Phil. He talked about how a lot of the scientists that work for cigarette companies transitioned over to food companies, and that their job was to create cheaper food and keep the price the same. So you were paying $4 for a box of Cheerios, maybe $3, depending on where you were from back in the days. And they made the food production cheaper, keeping the price the same, making a bigger profit. Well, now the shit that they're also putting in food is catching up with them, because a lot of the kids that are being raised are having a lot of behavioral issues. Now, the behavioral issues that we're seeing in kids and the increase we're seeing in kids, absolutely you could blame it on food, because a lot of behavioral issues started around the early 2000s. We started seeing an enormous amount of kids with behavioral issues, and not so much autism. Autism goes back a little further. Autism goes back to like the mid-90s. We started seeing an uptick in it. Now, autism was being identified back in the 80s, I think, or the late 70s, mid-70s rather. But it was few far in between. Then there was an explosion of autistic kids in the 90s, mid-90s to early 2000s. An explosion. You could blame the food. You could blame the absurd amount of arm tickets they were giving kids. And there's a direct correlation with the timetable. When you look at the timetable of the amount of arm tickets they wanted to give the kids, and then 5-10 years later, you saw an uptick in autism. Go back 20 years before that and look at the amount of arm tickets they were giving kids, and go 5 to 10 years past that, and the autism rate didn't budge, stayed about the same. But then there was an explosion. And Mrs. John Johnson, absolutely. The food and the arm tickets combined could have caused it. And I always refer to the movie Batman with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. Remember the smile on the face thing? It was a combination of byproducts that people put on their faces, makeup, right? If you put baby powder and lipstick on, not baby powder, but you put lipstick on and foundation, it reacted, and you had this allergic reaction, the smile that people started dying from. I think the food and arm tickets combined and did just that. He goes, in my area back in the 70s, we had a government-funded facility nearby. Right, Johnny 308, but the autism rate was still a lot lower in the 70s than it is now. Now it's fucking out of control. But yes, I remember those autistic kid facilities. They were everywhere. They were all over. They were here in the city. Those are the kids that were licking glass and fucking ramming cars with their heads. They were like doing all kinds of shit. There were kids that were like really quiet. No matter what you said to them, they wouldn't fucking budge. They wouldn't have a reaction. You brought out one of those stupid fucking clown people that come out and clown it up, and they wouldn't react to it. And people would always be like, there's something wrong with that kid. But a lot of those kids, I won't say outgrew, but they outdeveloped their autism. They still had some underlying issues, but they outgrew it. They were able to function in society. A lot of the kids today cannot function in society. Now, Astatin, 85. Yes, a lot of people will go back and go, they figured out how to diagnose autism better. And I say, absolutely not. The number of kids that were, the number still grew, right? How do I explain this? Kids with behavioral issues, and autism is a part of those behavioral issues, took off in the 90s. So you still had an abundance amount of autistic kids and then behavioral issue kids on top of that. And a lot of kids with behavioral issues fell into the autistic category. And people are like, well, they learned how to identify it. No, because we didn't see this many kids disrupting classrooms. We didn't. And that's the telltale sign of autism growing. You have bigger autistic classes now. You have bigger autistic numbers. You see more parents with them. You hear more parents with autistic kids. And not like being able to identify. We're talking about the traditional autistic kid that you look at who's just like no emotion, just sitting there, not having fun, doing weirdo shit. You know? Yeah, licking doorknobs and windows. Those kids, you know? Survival Cherokee, that's the other thing. Again, part of the behavioral issue. The raging shit with kids. Crazy. ADHD went up dramatically. Now you got adults going, I have ADHD. Don't give me that. Listen, I'm going to offend somebody on here. So fuck a buckle in, fucko. But I don't want to hear a grown-ass adult make excuses for their bullshit and go, I have ADHD. And so you're absolved of all your bullshit? You're absolved of being stupid and acting like a fucking moron? If you know you have ADHD as an adult, you know how to pull back and figure out your problem, whatever your problem might be. When adults sit there and go, I have ADHD, so feel sad for me. No, fucko, I'm not going to feel sad for you. There's no way on God's green earth am I going to feel fucking bad for you. You have ADHD, you better figure it the fuck out. You're not going to use it as a crutch as an adult. You know, and people do that all the time. They're like, not that they're talking more about adult ADHD. Fuck you and your adult ADHD. You know what the fuck you're doing wrong. You're not going to fucking blame that shit on that. I have ADHD. Grow the fuck up. I had dyslexia. And I found out I had dyslexia in my 20s. When I started reading more books, I'm like, why am I reading this backwards? And then I figured it out. I have ADHD. I have dyslexia. So to combat my dyslexia, I figured out my problem. I started reading out loud. Reading out loud helps me fight the dyslexia. So when I read out loud, people are like, why are you reading out loud? And I don't sit there and go, I have dyslexia. You know, I don't say anything. I just read out loud. But that's why I read out loud. I read out loud to combat it. It helps. Anyway. Yeah, people are like, oh, my kid has ADHD. Who gives a fuck? You better straighten that little fucko out. I don't want people on a plane like, oh, like if your kid's autistic and on a plane making noise, don't put your fucking kid on a plane. If you can't calm your kid down, not everybody else wants to fucking hear it. And people always make excuses. Oh, my kid is just, you know, my kid has, not Alzheimer's, I'm sorry. My kid has behavioral issues. Then you better take your belt off your fucking pants and correct those issues right now. You can't keep giving your kid a crutch because the kid's going to grow up using it as a crutch and your kid's going to turn out to be a fucking pussy. Period. They were looking at LSD and mushrooms to combat with behavioral disorders. There is a study right now, or maybe it was a year or two ago, where they were looking to introduce a very minute amount of mushroom for kids with behavioral issues, and they're doing it in adults, and it's finding some promise there. So we shall see. Yeah, you know what? But yeah, somebody fucking tells me, oh, my kid, I don't want to hear it. I don't want your kid's kicking my seat, and your excuse is he has ADHD. I'm gonna cut his little ADHD legs off. How about that? You know, like people still have to need to know how to control your kid. If your kid can't be controlled on a plane, train, or automobile, where did I get that from? If your parent can't control that kid, or your kid can't control himself, don't put him on a train, plane, or a bus, right? Somewhere that's the public. If you can't control them, they do not belong on that. Period. Right? But motherfuckers, man, they always talk that shit. They're like, oh, well, my kid, fuck your kid. Fuck that little rat bastard. Give him some fucking cheese and hopefully he'll relax. Because if he don't, he's got to get off the plane. They had a girl who was on a plane. She had autism. And she was carrying on and acting up. And the mother was like, oh, I didn't have any food for her. If you know your kid is half a tard, pack a fucking sandwich so the kid doesn't fucking act up. You know? But this lady was... Now, what the adults did when the mother got kicked off the plane was a little bullshit. It was actually childish. You know, they were applauding and clapping when the lady got kicked off the plane with her daughter. And the lady was trying to play victim. I'm like, no, your daughter's the victim of your bullshit. You should have fucking had shit squared away. If I have an autistic kid and I know that my kid's going to fucking scream and carry on and act like an asshole if I don't feed him on the plane, I'm going to bust out a sandwich. Boom, here you go, kid, shut the fuck up. Here's a ham and cheese sandwich or a turkey and cheese sandwich. Now sit down and relax. The fucking pilot had to make an emergency landing because this kid was acting up. Right? So again, big problems. Now, moving right along, guys, as I talked about all of the shit that people are avoiding, they're avoiding the unusual cancer emerging after the pandemic. Like I said, they're trying to blame Mr. 19 for it. Now, I'm not going to go over any articles because I just went over most of it now. But what I want to talk about was something a little more pressing. Kamala Harris, and I'm going to make this video, I'm going to post this video on YouTube and see if it sticks. But Kamala Harris made a promise not so much to weaponize the DOJ, but she's going to use the DOJ to do this. She's going to double the Civil Rights Division and direct law enforcement to counter extremists online. She wants to hold social media companies accountable for those hate speeches online. She wants to make sure that people end up in jail for the most part. And that's weaponizing DOJ to a whole new level that they haven't been weaponized before. And she states if she wins, she will do this. Now, why is this bad? Well, because that attacks free speech. But more importantly, above everything else, this is the same game book that Hitler used to go to power, to get to power. He did the same exact shit. Anybody that spoke out against him, anybody that disagreed with him, or spoke propaganda out against him were put in jail. This is how he rose to power, and this is the same fucking plan, or game plan, if you will, that she's using. Outwardly promising that she's going to weaponize DOJ. Outwardly promising that she's going to have law enforcement encounter these extremists. Now, here's the thing, guys. I don't give a fuck what anybody says about me. They can call me a nigga all day till their teeth are fucking white. They can be like nigga, 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 nigga until their teeth are white. I don't care. That is part of free speech. You could say whatever the fuck you can call me the brown little nigga that could. Whatever the fuck you want to call me, I do not care. But telling people that they can't say it is bullshit. Telling people that I can't say cracker ass cracker, right, and Jew ass Jew is bullshit. That is taking away free speech. And you start building resentment when you are one-sided with that, because without fail, guys, she's going to be one-sided with this weaponizing of the DOJ. At least it's going to start out one-sided, and then it might cover everybody. And then it translates, guys, to, oh, well, we didn't like what you said. What you just said right now, we're going to have to deal with that. We're going to get you arrested. They're doing it in the UK as we speak right now. As we speak, guys, they're in the UK arresting people who are making comments about bullshit. Not even like the president or a politician, just bullshit in general. Using the word retard. So now they're like, oh, well, you called somebody's kid retarded, and we have to take you in now for questioning. They're questioning them and taking them downtown to the precinct, wherever that is in London. They're doing it there, and she's promising to do it here. And the bigger problem with that, guys, is it's a global issue set forth by the WEF. There is not going to be a nuclear war. I am really convinced right now there is not going to be a nuclear war. There's going to be something the fuck else. and we don't like what it is. We're not going to like what it is. Whatever they're going to do, guys, is going to be extremely fucking bad. And they're going to start with free speech, and they're going to go right down the line. I don't think we're going to see nuclear war because there's a couple of things that came to light, and I'm like, yo, this is bad. Very bad. Which also leads me to believe, guys, I'm going to have a video that's going to come out tomorrow about the CIA and the recent assassination attempt on Trump's life. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. So watch the video, get pissed off, don't get pissed off. But the gist of it is the CIA, guys, is not leaving a breadcrumb trail back to them. A lot of people are doing videos on the CIA and the last shooter, what's his name, Ruth Roth, however you say his last name. They're like, he worked with the CIA and this with the CIA. And I'm like, so the CIA is leaving these breadcrumb trails right back to them? That don't make any sense. No, Craig Smith, I haven't seen the nuclear bomb videos don't exist. I have seen videos of nuclear bombs go off. So I don't know why people would say they don't exist. But back to the CIA thing, something is up. That's all I have to say with it. Something's not making sense. There's no way the CIA, with the most intelligent people in that group, are going to sit there and allow all of these breadcrumb trails to go right back to them. Makes no sense. Something else is going on. Anyway, with that, a lot of you guys are going to get pissed with that video when I release it. Nonetheless, I'm going to release it. Because fuck it. Why not? Yeah, I mean, like, it was just like I'm watching all of these videos about the recent guy that was waiting for Trump to take shots at him. And they were like, well, he did this, that, and the third in CIA training. And then the other kid, what the fuck was that other kid's name? Cook, right? They were like, oh, he was training with the CIA in a gun range. No, the fuck he wasn't. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, the CIA is slick as shit. They're the most slick people on the planet. They are also KGB style smart. So KGB and CIA will not let any breadcrumbs go back to them. And they will definitely not have evidence of it online. People are finding all these evidence and putting YouTube videos together. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not even possible. Sorry, that's not possible. That is not a thing. Like, at all. That's not a thing. Nonetheless, crooks. Did I say cook? Excuse me, crook. But yeah, like, you know, granted, and yes, MK Ultra, but it's not CIA, man. It's somebody else. It is something else entirely different. And they're blaming the CIA. And the CIA, some CIA agents have said that, yes, they have seen MK Ultra and all this other bullshit. And they have a lot of projects that are out there. But these things that are leading back to them that easily for you and I to find, I'm not buying it. There's a bigger fucking thing, a bigger thing in motion, and we're not seeing it. Right? And again, that's just my opinion on the matter. And I could be entirely wrong. The CIA could be full of idiots and morons and leading a trail crime right back to them. Could be. But either way, I'm going to go off the air now because I need to go for my midnight walk because I decided like a fucking moron that I was going to eat a whole pie of pizza. Though it's a small pizza, still I shouldn't eat the whole thing. So now I got to go walk with the rats and the crackheads in the next couple of minutes. So, yeah, man. No, I don't want to do it, but I have to. This is called sacrifice. Sacrifice my time and sacrifice my safety with the crackheads and the rats outside. Anyway, other than that, guys, I'll see you guys next week, I guess. I'll see you guys next week. And other than that, thank you for watching. Thank you for dealing with my bullshit. And I will see you guys next week for the doubleheader, I'm pretty sure. Let me check my schedule real quick. Next Tuesday I will be on, and next Thursday I'll be on for the doubleheader. Right, guys, other than that, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for dealing with my bullshit, and I'll see you guys next week.